we're here today at the Porsche Museum here in Stuttgart in Germany on a very cold, rainy day, and it's always been my lifelong dream to come out to the Porsche Museum and of course the Porsche factories. So today we are here and we're going to go and enjoy all the latest Porsche vehicles, and then of course all the iconic vehicles in the Porsche Museum, and then we'll also do a factory tour later in the day. So let's go in and check it all out. And as we arrive up the top of the escalator, we see the first Porsche creation, and it was the first electric car, and it looks almost like a wagon, but if you look a little closer you will see all the electric mechanisms below, behind the rear wheel. The first electric vehicle developed by Ferdinand Porsche, the Egerlonger C2 Phantom. Advancements long before electric was even considered in modern times. As we move around, we have the first hybrid vehicle from Porsche, both petrol and electric at that early stage, and it's called the Lona Porsche. An incredible vehicle. You see it can house 4 seats. So there we go. They were advanced long before electric was conceived. They had both electric and petrol engines made by Porsche here in Germany. And right behind that we have the Austro Daimler, the racing version of the 4-seater, a collaboration between Ferdinand Porsche and a partner. This was called the Sascha and was the racing version, as I said earlier, of the 4-seater prototype still to be developed. Beautifully preserved, an incredible little vehicle. There you can see it all. Wooden floor, the chassis behind. Just check that out. And as we move on, we get to the Type 64, the first Porsche prototype, which was designed for the Volkswagen production vehicle, and of course the eventual 356. But look at the beautiful design, beautiful aluminium sculpture that had a aerodynamic coefficient that could match modern standards today. What an incredible vehicle, all sculpted in aluminium here at the Porsche Museum in Stuttgart. And next on the list is the Porsche Type 360, the V12 racing car that never really reached production because of financial issues, but it was the first step for Porsche into the racing segment. So there you go, what a beautiful and stunningly sculptured race car. Check out the interior, beautifully preserved, all the gauges, mechanisms, etc., and then the beautifully sculpted aluminium body, Type 360. So let's check out the evolution of the 356, and in front of you see the 356 number 1, the Porsche designed by Ferry Porsche to satisfy his sports car requirements. Beautiful aluminium bodied 356 number 1. And then when we move on, we check out the Porsche 356 number 2 Coupe. Just check out that color. What an incredible orange. I'm not even sure if it is Gunston, but what a beautiful car. Then we move a little further to the next exhibit, and here we have a beautiful black 356, the 356 Coupe Ferdinand. So it's the 356 Ferdinand, obviously named after the designer and owner of Porsche at the time. So the 356 Ferdinand. Then we move on to the Porsche 550 Spider, the mid-engine Porsche designed for a motor racing. Just check out the beautiful lines and the wings on the rear. The Carrera Panamericana Mexico, what a stunner. But you'll note those wings on the back was indicative of the time period and the design of motor cars during that era. What a beautiful machine. Then right across the way we have the famous 718 RS of 1960, the famous racing mid-engine sports car by Ferry Porsche, and just check out that design. Single exhaust at the rear, very similar design to the earlier one, but what a beautiful creation. And then of course the interior to go with it, still very much a patinaed vehicle. Not very much has been restored, so check that out. Isn't that a beautiful machine? And all of these vehicles are still running, so you can smell the oil. They're all in working condition. And then moving on from that, we have the Porsche Speedster prototype. What a beautiful little car with a beautiful white top and in silver grey. Just check this out. What a beautiful original vehicle, the prototype here at the Porsche Museum. And this particular 356 is still running and used regularly. It's not just a static display. You can actually see little drips of oil on the floor. So a beautiful 356 prototype. You can check out the interior. There we go. Beautiful little car in beautiful condition. The 356 prototype. And check this out, we have a 356 Cabriolet Polizei. There we go. What an incredible little car. You have the blue light on top, and then you have the intercom on the rear. Just check that out. Wow. A police vehicle in the form of a Porsche 356, and there you can see the two-way radio aerial. So this was used, I'm sure, to pursue other Porsches on the highways or the Autobahn. There we go, Polizei. This was called the Stormbird to the 911, or the predecessor of the 911 and the successor to the 356. An incredible car in an incredible color, the 901. Then we have the Porsche 904 GTS. What a beautiful design. Check this out. So advanced for the time. The 901 GTS. All in aluminium. A beautiful car. And then we have the Porsche 9082 Spider. A race car that won the Le Mans 24-hour in 1969. Just check this beauty out. I see it's got a Swiss and British flag, obviously representing the drivers. Just check out those exhausts and those wide rear tires and those front headlights, and check out these scoops. Wow. The Porsche 9082. And then we have the famous Porsche 917, the race winner, the Widowmaker, the film star, the legend. If ever there was a racing car to capture the imagination, it was the Porsche 917. Born of an unflinching aspiration to win the world's greatest endurance race, conceived by one of the world's greatest automotive engineers, driven by the fastest talents of the day, immortalized by Hollywood and revered by race fans for half a century, the 917 is the single most fearsome, famous and charismatic competition car the world has ever seen. The 917's tubular alloy frame and its perilous driving position might have made it the most dangerous in the event of a crash, but once its wonky aerodynamics was sorted, the 917 was also irresistibly fast. After an intensive season of development, it had been transformed visually and dramatically into a car that was ballistically quick and crucially super stable. In its final iteration, the 917, the flat 12 displacement 5.4 litre, had developed 1,580 brake horsepower in the qualifying trim. The motor was wound back to 1,100 brake horsepower in race form, but this still gave the 820 kilogram machine a power to weight ratio of almost 1400 brake horsepower per ton. Unsurprisingly, the 917 won both the 72 and 73 Can-Am series before the rules change triggered by the oil crisis saw Porsche officially withdraw from the series in 1974. The race winner, the widowmaker, the film star and the legend now lives on in motor racing history and has been one of the greatest race cars ever designed by Porsche and one of the race cars of the world. And the next exhibit we see a Porsche 956 race car mounted upside down on the ceiling, a spectacular display, and this symbolizes the downforce that is generated, which is purportedly enough for the car to continue to race upside down if the track happened to be inverted. All of this downforce promoted by the aerodynamics included in the design of the 956. You can see the rear wing and the dynamics created in the body to allow for that incredible downforce at high speed, to allow this phenomenon to evolve in the car while traveling at high speed. An incredible downforce that is created by the Porsche 956. An incredible and unique display indicating the downforce and aerodynamics of this incredible race car. And next up we have the 1977 Porsche 935 Baby. Based on the successful 935 Group 5 race sports car, it was created in 1977 after only 4 months of development to meet the 750 kg weight requirement. And next up we have the twin turbocharged 959, which was the world's fastest street legal production car when introduced, achieving top speeds of 317 kilometers an hour, with some variants even capable of achieving 339 kilometers an hour. Combining race car performance with luxury sedan comforts, it was considered the most technologically advanced road car of all time. And then we have the Porsche 911 GT1, designed and developed to compete in the GT1 class of supercar racing, which also required a street legal version for homologation purposes. It was powered by a twin turbo flat six that was good for 600 brake horsepower. And next up we have the 993 generation Porsche 911 Carrera Coupe, which entered service in 1996 and was the most recent sports car from Porsche to be driven by the German state police force. The vehicle was handed over to then the Minister of Interior of Baden-Württemberg, Thomas Schreiber, in the presence of Ferdinand Ferry Porsche, and today is part of the collection in the Porsche Museum. Then next up is the Porsche 911 GT or GT2, which was the 993 series, which was the version of the 993 Turbo made to compete in the FIA GT2 class racing. The GT2 was rear driven and an exceptionally lightweight Porsche 993, which made it incredibly fast and incredibly exciting. And then we have the famous Porsche Boxster concept vehicle, which was responsible for saving Porsche from bankruptcy. It boasted a 2.5 litre flat six engine capable of producing up to 249 brake horsepower, which was enough for the car to crack 160 miles an hour while dispatching the 0 to 62 miles an hour dash in around 6 seconds. Many of the external styling cues were borrowed from the classic 550 Spider, RSK, and even the 911, the incredible Porsche Boxster concept car, which made Porsche what it is today. And then we have the Porsche 968 CS or Club Sport, which was offered from 1992 through to 1995. Porsche offered a lighter weight Club Sport version of the 968 designed for enthusiasts seeking increased track performance. And then we move on next door. And in 1987, Porsche experimented with a long wheelbase 928 called the H50 that accommodated 4 doors and a full-size rear seat. It was built on then the recently released S4 platform with the 330 brake horsepower of V8. There were 2 versions of the H50, the station wagon and the hatchback. And then we have the 944 Turbo Cup, which is the grassroots motorsports road racing series dedicated to the front-engine water-cooled Porsche 944. And last but not least, we have the Porsche 924, produced from 76 till 1988. It was the 2+2 coupe and replaced the 912E and the 914. We have the Porsche 996 911 cutaway, and you can check the radiators up front, the boot area, and all of the supporting brake fluid, etc., and the battery. And then as you move around, you'll then see the dashboard, steering, the seat, and then as we come through, you'll see the central transmission tunnel. Then you'll see the actual gearbox, and then of course the flat 6 engine at the rear, the exhaust, and of course then the roof cutaway as well. So a very nice display, gives you an indication how the whole 911 is put together. Superb display. And then we have the 997 911 GT2, which was the fastest street legal 911 ever built. Developed by the motorsport department in Weissach, it carries all the sporty genes that a road vehicle suitable for the track really needs. The GT2 had the widened body of the 911 Turbo, but its rear-wheel drive instead of all-wheel drive, a significant reduction in weight, also contributed to its impressive driving performance. Then right behind the Porsche GT2, we have another 997 911 GT2 RSR racing version. It was based on the Porsche 911 Turbo and uses a similar twin turbocharged engine, but features numerous upgrades including engine enhancements, larger brakes, and stiffer suspension calibration. The GT2 was significantly lighter than the Turbo due to its use of rear-wheel drive instead of all-wheel drive, making it a lot lighter. Then we have the 918 Spider, a plug-in hybrid powered by a mid-mounted, naturally aspirated 4.6 litre V8 engine. And then we have the unmistakable 4-point headlights, LED headlights of the Porsche 918 Spider. And the same can be said for the 20-inch center-lock 7Y spoke mag wheels with the center-locking mechanism, and of course those acid green calipers. The wing mirror option on this 918 are the camera option with the visibility to the rear and visibility forward. There we go. And then we have the charging port just behind the driver's seat for charging your hybrid. And then on the opposite side you have your fuel filler cap for your V8 engine. Then on the opposite side, on the driver's side, you have the beautiful twin titanium exhausts accommodating that fantastic V8 engine. And then as we move around at the rear of the 918, we have that 918 Spider logo finished in silver and acid green, a real stunning piece at the rear of the 918 Spider. And then we move on to those 3D rear taillights, a beautiful design giving the rear end of the Spider its character, and then also a beautiful splitter down below providing that airflow under the 918. And then just above that you have your rear wing, which moves up and down at a certain speed. And then of course right up front, the front splitter and the Porsche badge right up front on the bonnet. And in the interior we have the 918, a spider logo embossed on the rear seat, and then of course a beautifully trimmed acid green and charcoal leather interior in the spectacular 918 Spider. And as we move out of the cabin, we have those aggressive rear humps accommodating the exhausts of the Spider. And then we have the Porsche 919 hybrid race car, which boasts a 2-litre 90-degree V4 mid-mounted mono-turbocharged petrol engine that produces 500 horsepower or 370 kilowatt, and also acts as a chassis load-bearing member, and 2 separate energy recovery hybrid systems to recover thermal energy from the exhaust gases and convert kinetic energy into electrical energy under braking. The Porsche 919 hybrid is one of the most successful and fastest endurance races of modern times. And then we move on to the Porsche 99X Electric Generation 3 race car. The third generation Formula E race car represents a new technological milestone and will be competing in the all-electric racing series from the 2023 racing season. Then the next exhibit is the Vision 357 concept car, and this is in commemoration of the Porsche 356, and it's based on the 2023 Porsche Cayman GT4 RS. In celebration of 75 years, the Porsche 356 reimagined. And here up on the landing we have another set of concept vehicles, and the first one is a 968 L'Art. The Parisian fashion label L'Art de Automobile embodies the connection between vehicle and fashion. Its founder Arthur Carr has now fulfilled a lifelong dream in collaboration with Porsche, specifically a redesigned Porsche 968. And then we have the Porsche Panamericana, another concept car which was intended to be only a concept car, and although Legay hoped that this creation would be produced at least in a small series in 1992, the growing financial crisis at Porsche put an end to these wishes. However, the car had an influence in the development of the 993 and 911 Targa and Boxster. The Panamericana was shown at the 1989 Frankfurt Motor Show after the development of a period of only 6 months. It was built on the chassis of a 911 and 964 Carrera 4 Cabriolet, and its bodywork was built with plastic and carbon fiber panels. An outstanding characteristic of the car were its wide wheel covers, with its objective to have enough room for various sizes of rims and tires, so if necessary it could be transformed into an off-road vehicle. The mag wheels used on the concept vehicle were only made exclusively for the Panamericana. Then the third and last concept car on the landing is the Porsche 968 Roadster, a cut down windscreen, tiny side windows, a lower canvas convertible top, and a low rear end. This Porsche 968 Roadster follows in the tradition of the Porsche Speedster. And Porsche built this unique study in cooperation with the American Sunroof Company in 1991. And sadly, this Porsche Roadster remained the only one-off. Some of the latest 911 GT3s, and this is the 911 GT3 Shark, and you can see exactly why it's called the Shark. You can see the colors, and then of course on the backrest you can see the jaws of the shark. So a special edition, and then as you move around you'll see all that shark detailing on the back. There we go, those colors are definitely reminiscent of a shark, no doubt. There we go. And this is the 4-litre version. Spectacular car. Carbon fiber roof and this gorgeous wing. Wow. And of course then the mag wheels to go with it. The mirrors are also detailed, so what a beautiful car. It comes at a price. And then we have the 911 Dakar, a toughed up high riding version of the 992 GTS. That means a 473 brake horsepower 3-litre twin turbo flat 6 at the back, 4-wheel drive and an 8-speed PDK gearbox, all dangling 50 millimeters higher off the ground than usual. And then we have the new Porsche 911 GT3R. With the 911 GT3R, Porsche begins another chapter in its success story. The youngest generation of the 911 GT3R enters the track as the new challenger for the worldwide GT3 series, for motorsport enthusiasts and for everyone who loves a challenge. They all can expect more aerodynamics, performance and power, a genius advancement to achieving the perfect race car. And then we have the Porsche 963, a sports prototype, a racing car designed by Porsche and built by Multi-Matic, built to compete in the hypercar and GTP Grand Touring prototype classes in the FIA World Endurance Championships and the IMSA Sports Car Championships respectively. And next up we have the 2023 Porsche 911 GT3 RS 992, and then you can see the events for the twin turbos, and then of course the decals on this particular car indicating how the airflow flows over the vehicle. And then of course you have those incredible center lock mags, and there you go, you can see those center lockers. And then of course you have steel rotors on this particular vehicle, and then as we move around you'll see those vents up on the bonnet, the third radiator providing extra cooling, and then of course the LED headlights, beautiful design. And then as we move around you will see the sticker instead of the Porsche badge for lightness, and you will see all the aerodynamics right around the vehicle. And then at the rear we have the canards for that flow of air around the vehicle, and then of course we have that massive rear wing providing the necessary downforce, and you'll see it's ventilated with the hydraulic lift system providing that maximum downforce. Just look at the size of that wing. And then as we move down we have the vents on the mudguards, and then again we have the incredible mag center lock wheels, there we go, and the steel rotors on this particular GT3 RS. And then as we move down we have the blacked out rear taillights, really incredible and fits this design. And then the rear canards once again for that airflow, and then moving around we have those venturis below, the exhausts, and then of course the third brake light also blacked out. And then once again we have those canards on the roof for airflow. An incredible aerodynamic design, the GT3 2023 RS here at the Porsche Museum. So there we go, that brings us to the end of our tour of the Porsche Museum. And as we move down on the final escalator you can see all of the exhibits left and right that we saw earlier in the video. A beautifully and architecturally magnificent building here at the Porsche Museum. And as we move down we will see those floors left and right, and then as we're moving down we'll see reception coming up, and that marks the end of our tour. So there you go, that was the Porsche Museum here in Stuttgart in Germany. And if you liked our video, don't forget to give us the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.